Hey there, Linda and Nicole here. You know that we're on a fearless mission for amplifying humanity in leadership, and we're going to share with you how our emotions can play a part in how well we show up as leaders. And what we're going to be doing is using the characters from the Pixar movie Inside Out, which is an excellent movie. Nick, you've only just watched it.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm so pleased I've had the chance to watch it recently because my kids are all grown up. So I didn't get a chance to watch it back when it was in its heyday. And what I really love is how powerful the key message is around how it simplifies what is universally a very complex thing to understand in terms of how we experience emotions or how emotions work in our body. And we can't control our emotions, right? They happen automatically. And if we're not aware of how they're ordered and organized and how they work together, we can be at effect. We can show up in a way that's uncomfortable for us and certainly uncomfortable for the people around us. So what I really love is how this movie's done an epic job of illustrating exactly how this works and what some of the levers are that we can use to create a different or even a better experience, not just for ourselves, but for those people around us. So it's a really cool movie. And Linda, maybe there's some people out there that won't have seen it, like me. And perhaps it'd be cool to share a little bit about that story with them.
Yeah, it's so worth watching. So the story's about a young tweenage girl. She's trying to make the best of a really hard situation. And she's got all these, as you know, teens, young teens or early teens do have a lot of emotions coming up. So the movie's not so much about the character as it is about those individual emotions. And there are 5 of them that control her life. And they are joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust. So there are 4 negative emotions and only 1 positive one. So I reckon, Nick, why don't we just give everyone a bit of an intro to the characters and then look at how they relate to us as leaders, particularly around relationships and interactions with people in your team or even customers.
Yes, let's introduce them because I'm in love with them. I've literally just ordered them from Amazon. I want them sitting here on my desk as a reminder. So each emotion is depicted in the film as its own character. So we have Joy. She's kind of, I would say, one of the main characters. Now, she's this glowing bundle of sparkly fairy-like, cheerleader-like energy, oozing positivity and optimism. And they lean on her quite a lot. Also is another short, frumpy, blue like got the blues, literally. This is the sadness character, and she's your typical Debbie Downer, frowner, lethargic, unmotivated kind of character, who's often teary or sad. I'm sure you get the picture. And then contrastively, but also really powerful, is this is anger. And anger is red, like he's fiery, literally lights when he lets loose. But he's this fiery ball of irritation and truly ready at any moment to bring anger forth. He really has to be held back.
So a couple of the other characters, there's Fear. So Fear is wide-eyed, he's a spindly character, and he's always trembling, he's biting his nails, and in fact, he's even kind of grey in colour, like all the colour's been drained out of him. And again, coming back to spindly, you know, like you've got this kind of adrenaline that you're always burning calories and, you know, just tiny little character. The other one is disgust, and she's hilarious. She's this green-bodied character. She's so quick to cross her arms, drop her nose at any time she encounters anything that's even remotely repelling, and she's so ready to judge, dismiss, be critical. She curls up her lip. She looks down her nose. She's really snarly and narky.
Ugh.
The way that they've done this is so clever, because you can actually remember moments or times that you've behaved this way, or that you've been on the receiving end of some of those emotions.
Oh my gosh, yes, and we can swing through them quick.
Yeah, for sure. So I think what's cool is that I really appreciate too is you get to see the way our brains are wired, and it's pretty messed up, right? That we have 4 challenging emotions and only 1 joyful, positive emotion. And this tells us, it gives us a little clue, or it's a little tell around why people bring so much drama into their interactions. And fair to say, most people are unaware that this type of game is going on in our brains. And what this gives us is the chance, this saying, I suppose, is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change. So it gives us some other options to consider, right?
Yeah, and really cool to know if you've got people in your teams or even customers who are cranky, because there's a flow-on effect, right, from leaders through teams and all the way through to customers.
100%. So a real workplace example, if we think about it, when customers complain, and this fascinates me, right? The organisation will often do the "how are you wrong? How are you at fault, Mr. Customer?" And then the customer feels, disgust, anger, fear, all of those things that we talked about before the organisation then decides that this person is really important to them and that we don't want to lose you, Mr. Customer. So insert joy, and we finally land on a positive outcome. But ironically, the strategy to get to the positive outcome is through those challenging emotions. Like, that's the dance we literally do each time. And I wonder if there's a clue in here about how quickly we can swing, instead of doing a deep dance in that whirlpool of messy emotions. How quickly can we get to joy, especially given whether it's in leadership or in creating a customer experience? You want the final outcome to be positive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, just kind of reminds me of an example that you were sharing with me recently, which is kind of funny, but not funny at the same time, because you went through this whole range of emotions. And just to jog your memory on the scenario that happened was when you drove over your laptop.
Oh, yes.
The new one, like, that just stuck out for me because the whole process just seemed crazy, right?
Yeah, well, this is a classic example. Very early one morning, I was leaving to do a training session in Adelaide. I live in Sydney, and my garage was dark. My laptop bag was next to my wheel. I didn't pack it. I drove over it. So it was a lovely concave shape. So that training session I was going to, I required that laptop. So I was distraught. I talk about fear. I had every level of it going on, thinking, how's this going to work or play out, immediately trying to think of options. What I did realise is it was insured, and I buy insurance for everything for exactly this reason. So insert joy, definitely. So when I landed in Adelaide, first call I made when I could at 9:01 was to that organisation, and I was promptly greeted by a service rep who said to me, welcome, hello, how are you? Listened to what had happened and then proceeded to read me a script. To which I then went, oh, thank you. The script was something like, within 7 to 10 working days, one of our approved dealers will be in contact with you, and they will let you know whether you are entitled to a replacement or a repair under the terms of our blah, 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 blah. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So I heard that and I went, thank you. However, I've got to work around. I need a laptop in about 2 hours' time. So I'm going to go and buy exactly the same one. If I keep the receipt, am I cool? Am I covered? To which she replied, picked up somewhere in that script and went, "Madam, what will happen is within 7 to 10 days," and I said, "Oh, please don't read me that script. You get where I'm going. I just wanted an answer. Is that a workable solution to my problem? Yes or no?" She couldn't give that to me. I then said, "Could I please speak to somebody who can give me that answer? I'm going to go with my plan because I don't have another decision." Hung up the phone, insert disgust, anger, not so much fear. I'd gone beyond fear because I'd decided an answer for myself, but fair to say, I wasn't happy. And I had to carry that bloody complex mix of emotions in my body for the rest of the day. Because guess what happened when I was on my way home to Sydney? Insert team leader, phone call back to me, and she said, "No problem. Of course we can do that for you. If that's what you've done, just hold on to your receipt and we'll look after that for you."
Yeah, and it could have been circumvented, right? To go straight to joy. And when I think about like even sharing that story, you know, if you'd experienced joy rather than all those emotions, it would create a beautiful ripple effect to others. But instead, you've got to manage all these emotions around being read a script and not getting the support that you needed. And those emotions just give you a shitty feeling, right?
Oh, they definitely do. And, you know, so whether we're looking at that through a customer experience lens, that could definitely have been improved. Or if we look through that example through a leadership lens, why couldn't we empower, which I did say to the team leader, our direct, you know, facing staff with the ability to say yes? If this is a procedure, why do we need a level or a rank to be able to say yes to me? And I feel like there's some sort of opportunity there to look at it through a different lens as leadership. I can't imagine that experience for that person having me on the phone would have been empowering or enjoyable. Insert for that customer service rep fear or sadness because she wasn't able to give me that outcome, and that wouldn't have been a good experience. Had to be escalated. That I'm sure doesn't feel good. So on so many levels, being able to see the strategy that sits beneath the decisions that we make or the way that we do business with people, I just love that the movie gives us this opportunity to look at it differently. How quickly, whilst those emotions are all necessary and important and we can't control them, how long do we hang out with them? How long do we make them the experience before we get to joy and create that ripple effect that you're talking about?
Yeah, and you know what? Some people, it takes a very long time to get to joy if they even do get to joy. I'm sure they do eventually at some stage. So I think, yeah, when I hear about all that, the bottom line is, you know, whatever situation you're in, whether it's as a leader with your team member or with a customer, ask yourself, what would joy do?
Yes. What would joy do, right? Instead, and circumvent all those other emotions so that we can bring everybody to a great outcome. Because isn't that really what we're trying to do, whether we're in teams that work together or providing a service or a product to an external party? We want it to be joyful. We want them to come back. We want to create loyalty. We want to create inclusion. So isn't that exactly the experience that we're trying to create on a day-to-day basis in the important work that we do?
Sure is.
I say yes.
Bring more joy like you bring to my day.
Oh, and you to mine.
Oh, Sadness, I have a super important job just for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Follow me.
What are you doing?
And there. Perfect. This is the circle of sadness. Your job is to make sure that all the sadness stays inside of it.